On this Wednesday night, Facebook is finally breaking its silence, responding to the misuse of personal data from tens of millions of its users. While the controversy takes center stage in the House of Commons, with questions about the Canadian who helped scoop data from users and work he did for the Liberal Party. Tonight, in a Canadian exclusive, he responds.
I'm sorry, that's just cheap. It's just cheap politics.
We'll break down the latest on this evolving story.
Also tonight, the United States makes a major concession in NAFTA talks.
And a 13-year-old Canadian takes her crusade for clean water straight to the UN. This is The National.
The Cambridge Analytica controversy just keeps growing, opening up new questions about your digital data, how Facebook protects it, and how political parties seek to use it. We want to tie those pieces together tonight. From Ottawa, with some hard questions from the opposition and some new information from the Liberals and from Chris Wylie, the pink-haired Canadian whistleblower. What did he do for Canada's governing party? And what does he think about what Facebook has responded to this global story? So that's where we're starting tonight. For a man who made his fortune on shared information, Facebook's founder and CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, has been notably silent since these allegations surfaced, until now. As Ron Charles tells us, his first comments came, of course, in a Facebook post.
After a brutal, days-long onslaught of public criticism, Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg broke his silence this afternoon. In a written statement to his 2.2 billion users, he said, "We have a responsibility to protect your data, and if we can't, then we don't deserve to serve you." To do that, he promised Facebook will investigate all apps that once had access to large amounts of personal data. It will ban apps that misused that data. It will cut off access to your data from apps that you have not used in 3 months. And it will introduce a new tool to show you what your apps are up to. The moves come just as the hashtag #DeleteFacebook has been trending. Where else but on the competing social media platform Twitter?
You need Facebook profiles to apply for many jobs. These things are really integrated into our lives.
Digital media and global affairs professor Taylor Owen says deletion isn't the solution.
And it's unfair to put that full burden of market pressure on individuals.
He says the problem with Facebook is its very business model.
How it makes all its money is by collecting as much data as possible about the lives of its users and selling that data to anyone who wants to target content to those users.
Some social media experts say a private company holding that much data about that many people should face more regulations and stiffer penalties when things go wrong.
The problem I think we've had in the U.S. is that there's been a hands-off attitude about the internet firms. And the practical consequences, a lot of these companies have been led to believe that they can do pretty much whatever they want with personal data. So, of course, now we're living with the consequences.
The consequences for Facebook, at least in terms of popularity, will depend on whether Delete Facebook becomes more than just another trending hashtag. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
Welcome. Facebook might never have needed to do any of this, might have whistled merrily along with the world none the wiser, were it not for Chris Wylie, the former Cambridge Analytica employee who revealed how that company got a hold of Facebook data. I got his response right after he heard Zuckerberg's statement for the very first time.
Before all of this spiraled out of control, Facebook had agreed to sit down and meet in a collaborative manner, and then they turned around when they realized how big the story was going to be. They turned around, they tried to spike the story for The Guardian, they tried to spike the story for the New York Times, pulled this stunt. It's backfiring. They're now seeing that. But I think more broadly, they're starting to understand that there's a potential for an existential crisis in Facebook because people are realizing that you've got a company that sort of has a problem with the fact that its entire business model revolves around the use of personal data. It's nice that they have a statement now that seems to acknowledge that there's some responsibility there and they want to move forward. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. So let's see what they're actually going to do.
Before a few days ago, not many people had heard of Christopher Wylie. You will hear a lot more from him now. He is set to testify before the U.S. House Intelligence Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, and the British parliamentary inquiry into fake news. And that's while he continues to tell his story to journalists. So who is he? Well, first of all, he is Canadian, grew up in the Victoria, BC area. A high school dropout who plugged into politics, working with the Liberal Party, including then leader of the opposition, Michael Ignatieff, while Chris was still in his teens. He moved to London in 2013, and that's when he started with a military contractor known as SCL Group. His algorithms attracted the attention of investors Robert Mercer and Steve Bannon, and Cambridge Analytica was born. A year later, after witnessing the company harvest and use all that Facebook data, he left. But that is not the end of Wiley's story. Wiley set up his own company and started doing his own data and political consulting. He worked for the Liberals again in 2016, and as Tom Perry explains, that brought the Wiley fallout right to Ottawa.
Mr. Speaker, we now know that the person at the center of the Facebook data leak scandal is a Liberal Party operative.
It's shaken the online world and today landed squarely in Ottawa.
Can the Prime Minister confirm that he hired Christopher Wiley and explain exactly what role he had in the Liberal government?
The federal Liberals acknowledge that Wiley worked for the party in early 2016, soon after Justin Trudeau was elected Prime Minister. Wiley's company, Unoya Technologies, was awarded a $100,000 research contract.
Preliminary work was done by Unoya Technologies, but after seeing what was offered, Liberal Caucus Research Bureau decided not to move forward.
In a statement, the Liberal Party's Research Bureau said Wiley's company was contracted to, among other things, design and organize several national samples to explore responses to government policy, priorities, and other issues of national importance.
This is shameful, Mr. Speaker. We have to know what the Liberals let this individual have access to.
The Liberals insist Wiley never had access to their research data. All major parties keep detailed voter databases. They use them to target and tailor their message.
You know, they're moving into this world of micro-targeting, and the more they know about voters and the more they know about what pushes our buttons, the better messages they think they can deliver.
Experts say political parties are relying more and more on social media platforms like Facebook to reach voters and learn more about them, even if voters aren't aware of it.
The whole system has been shrouded in a lot of secrecy, a lot of opaqueness, and so myself and many others have just been calling for more transparency on this issue.
Justin Trudeau says his government takes the matter very seriously. The opposition wants to keep the focus on Trudeau's connection to the man at the center of this scandal. Tom Perry, CBC News, Ottawa.
So I pressed Wiley about what work he did in Canada as a consultant until I brought up Scheer's comments to his attention. Wiley hadn't heard them. This was his response.
What I would say to Mr. Scheer is that, you know, I'm coming forward as a whistleblower to talk about a project that is completely unrelated to the Liberal Party. This happened, whilst I was working in London for an American company. It's American data that I'm talking about. So what? He's accusing me of being a liberal, and also that I'm whistleblowing right now on an unrelated project. I mean, like, I'm sorry, that's just cheap. It's just cheap politics. I'll be clear. Like, aside from a small, this just seems so overblown. Aside from a small consulting project that I did when the government was just setting itself up. I've done no work in Canada, for years.
So, Rosie, he does keep stressing he is a whistleblower here, and he's not surprised that people are attacking him because they don't like what he's saying. You know, the story is not going to go away. We're going to hear more from him in the next few days, and we're certainly going to hear more about this story on both sides of the Atlantic, frankly.
Yeah, there's more coming for sure. Meanwhile, it's not surprising that we're learning more about this connection between social media and political parties. Lots of people don't realize it, but the government disclosed last year that it had spent more than $13 million since coming to office on social media advertising, which of course it's allowed to do. More than half of that money went to Facebook. Okay, let's turn to the ongoing NAFTA renegotiations now, and news of a big concession from the United States. It's walked back a major sticking point. Made in America demands for the auto sector. As Katie Simpson explains, negotiators are hoping it paves the way for even more movement.
automakers in Canada have been waiting for a breakthrough like this. The U.S. has dropped its controversial NAFTA demand that 50% of all parts used to build vehicles be made in America.
Well, look, it's a good first step that the United States withdrew what is a ridiculous proposal. If the U.S. would have been successful in their position, it would have completely wiped out the automotive industry here in Canada.
Canada isn't commenting officially on what's happening behind the scenes, but at the highest levels, there is a new sense of optimism about the fate of the trade talks.
As people have noticed, there seems to be a certain momentum around the table now that I certainly take as positive, but we will see what new challenges come up in the coming weeks as it continues.
Donald Trump's top man on trade also shares that sentiment. The normally reserved and sometimes frosty Robert Lighthizer told an influential committee today there are signs of progress.
And I think we are in a position where we're finally starting to converge. Once again, I can't really say exactly what's going to end up happening, but I think we're in a pretty good place.
That tone change comes after 2 productive rounds of NAFTA talks, one in Montreal, the other in Mexico City. Negotiators are also facing an urgent political deadline to reach a deal before the Mexican federal election on July 1st and the U.S. midterms this fall.
Well, I've always said these talks are all about autos in the end. It's all about manufacturing for this administration.
This former U.S. diplomat says it now appears there is the political will from the Trump administration to get to an agreement.
I think that what we're really seeing right now is the final sprint.
These are clearly steps toward a deal, but Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. still need to find compromise on more big issues, including improving Mexican labor standards and resolving trade disputes in NAFTA. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Ottawa.
This is a big deal for the auto sector because North American supply lines are so tightly intertwined that it would be hugely disruptive to try and pull them apart. Under NAFTA, vehicles assembled in Canada, the U.S., or Mexico use parts produced in all 3 countries. Auto parts crisscross North America, and Canadian manufacturers rely on the free movement across borders. Consider a Ford transmission. It starts with scrap iron chips from Canada. Those are shipped to St. Cloud, Minnesota, where the iron is cast. It goes back to Canada to be machined in Guelph, Ontario. That part then crosses the border to a Ford plant in Sterling Heights, Michigan. That's where it becomes a fully assembled transmission. The transmission is shipped to Oakville, Ontario, where it's installed into the car. And finally, most of those go across the border to be sold at U.S. dealerships. So that transmission crosses the border 5 different times before ending up on the lot. That's just one example of why NAFTA is vitally important to Canada's automotive industry. And the Prime Minister knows billions of dollars and thousands of jobs are at stake.
That's a level of integration that would be damaged by any thickening or imposition of tariffs or penalties at the border.
Another potentially tricky area for NAFTA negotiators you might not expect, the packaging on your favorite junk food. The U.S. wants to prevent the use of warning labels, symbols and labels on sugary and fatty foods, similar to the kind of labels you might see on cigarettes. That goes against advice from health authorities, including the World Health Organization, which says packaging warnings can help combat diabetes and obesity. Canada and Mexico reportedly favor those kinds of warnings. So, NAFTA ongoing, but it seems like there's some movement in the right direction, Andrew.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Rosie. Now to something you know very well from having interviewed him recently. For a long time, Abdul Abdi's life has been complicated. He came to Canada as a Somali refugee when he was 6. He bounced between foster homes, spent years in prison for multiple offenses, and is now facing deportation. Well, today he got some good news. It's been pushed back a few months, giving him time to make his case. But what's compounded the issue is that in all his time as a Crown ward in Nova Scotia, the province never applied for Canadian citizenship on his behalf, as it should have. And in that, Abdi is not alone. Another young man, Keewain Jones, also spent years in foster care, but aged out with no citizenship and few options. So now he's pushing for big changes. Natalie Collada has his story.
Looking back can be painful.
Any type of aggression or abuse is not easy to understand or even to discuss, especially as a child.
Keewain Jones came to Canada from Jamaica with his family at 10 years old.
I was hoping to be with my family and have a normal life.
Instead, he found himself a Crown ward less than a year later when he was removed from his family home due to domestic turmoil. He shuffled from foster home to foster home until, at 17 years old, he started to age out of the system. But his immigration status, never addressed, fell through the cracks.
There was just a rude awakening.
Jones finished high school, went on to finish college, and won the Duke of Edinburgh's award. When it came time to renew his permanent residency, Jones realized his birth certificate had expired.
Keeping track of your documents and keeping them in good order as you move from place to place is not easy, especially when you enter into a homeless shelter.
Through a lawyer, Jones has filed a class action lawsuit against the Ontario government on behalf of other Crown wards after 1966. The suit, which has yet to be certified, claims that as his guardian, Children's Aid Societies should have settled his immigration status while he was in their care.
He didn't know where he belonged. He didn't know who could help him. He didn't know where his documents were.
In a statement, the Ontario government says it's committed to supporting the highest quality services for children and youth who are in need of protection. Last June, federal legislation passed that allows for the first time those with custody of a minor to apply for citizenship on their behalf.
Children in state care have the right to citizenship. They should access it. We want more of them to become citizens.
Ontario is expected to open a centre in May to help settle immigration issues for Crown wards, but it all comes too late for Jones, who now finds himself reliving his past.
It brought up a lot of memories, a lot of things that were said, a lot of hurtful moments.
Natalie Collada, CBC News, Toronto.
Here's what else we're working on tonight on The National. What does it take to become a teenage activist? You'll know when you meet Autumn Pelletier. She's taking her fight for clean water to the UN.
No history of violence, no criminal record. So how did this young Canadian wind up in a New York jail for conspiring to commit terrorism?
And the suspect in the Austin bombings is dead, and police are breathing a sigh of relief.
Can never be called a happy ending, but it's a damn good one.
The island is very small, 1.5 miles long, a few hundred yards wide, approachable only by a small boat or a canoe. A large rock covered with scrub timber and salal lying off the southern tip of the Queen Charlotte Islands. And on the eastern side, protected by a promontory, stretching along the beach of a little bay, was the last large group of standing Haida totem poles, the remains of a deserted village, remembered as Nunstons, the name of the last chief, known for centuries to the Haidas as Squamgwai, Red Cod Village. We came as guests, too, to honor the carvers in our own way, by taking what remained of their work to preserve it and show the outside world something of the wonder of the old days. The next day, we approached the village with a different purpose. The wonder of the poles still was there, but now we turned to the job we had come to do, to cut them down and take them from this place where they'd stood so long. This huge beaver was left intact and standing after the fire had burned the house behind it and eaten through the pole just above its head. Its back had been burned thin, and the wood was old and pulpy. A paper totem pole, Wilson called it. It was in a difficult position, so it had to be lowered onto its face, and a lot of careful planning and rigging went on before the few cuts needed to sever it from its base were made. It's hard to get used to the idea of handling a ton or two of wet, rotten wood as you would a piece of fine china, but it must be done that way till the sections are crated, and certainly works of art of this quality deserve no less.
Tonight on The National, there might be some hope for a pod of stranded dolphins in Newfoundland. For more than 3 days now, they've been trapped in a harbor by thick sea ice. They won't go under, and the water's too shallow to bring in an icebreaker. But officials think a strong enough wind might push the ice away and set the dolphins free. Some newly released video of the moment a suspected nuclear reactor was destroyed in Syria. It happened in 2007, but today, Israel, for the first time, publicly confirmed it was behind the strike. Officials claim the attack removed a major threat to the region, and some Israeli leaders are using this admission to warn Iran. Develop nuclear weapons at your own risk. Former French President Nicolas Sarkozy is under formal investigation and out on bail tonight. He's faced 2 days of questioning over claims he accepted millions of euros from the regime of late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi to help finance his 2007 election campaign. Well, today marked the dramatic end of a reign of terror that spanned several weeks in Austin. Police say the man responsible for a string of bombings was killed, and they've learned more about what drove him in audio recordings. Here's Stephen D'Souza with what we now know.
With authorities closing in last night, police say Austin bomber Mark Condit recorded a 25-minute confession explaining why he terrorized the city for the last 3 weeks.
What is clear from listening to that video is this was a very troubled young man who was talking about challenges in his life.
What's not in the confession, police say, is any talk of terrorism or hatred, or a justification for the seemingly random targets he chose. Investigators say Condit described each of the 6 bombs that he mailed out that killed 2 people. He also described a 7th bomb. It was the one he used to kill himself earlier this morning. Police had him surrounded. Condit drove his truck off the road, then detonated the bomb. The break in the case appeared to come with this surveillance footage, showing the suspect in disguise mailing 2 of the packages on Sunday. Then, using his cell phone signal, police were able to close in.
We were on top of it. We were following him. We knew we were going to be able to apprehend him. We just didn't know when.
In the hours after his death, police evacuated the neighborhood surrounding Condit's home as they carefully removed a laundry list of bomb-making materials.
I wouldn't call it a bomb-making factory, but there's definitely components consistent with what we've seen in all these other devices.
Condit didn't graduate from college. He was an unemployed former computer technician. So investigators are still piecing together how he became a bomb maker. His family said in a statement, "We had no idea of the darkness that Mark must have been in. Our family is a normal family in every way."
It doesn't make sense. And I suppose this type of thing never does.
After warning the public to keep their guard up, police say they've now accounted for all of Condit's explosives.
Can never be called a happy ending, but it's a damn good one for the people of this community and people state of Texas.
One in which a community can breathe a sigh of relief that this long nightmare is over. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
The first full day of spring was smothered by snow in the north and southeastern U.S., dubbed by American media as a four-easter, the 4th big nor'easter storm in 3 weeks. Before a snowflake even touched the ground, the anticipation was enough in New York for rail workers to set train tracks on fire to prevent switches from freezing. And once that storm started, it just kept coming, all along the eastern seaboard and beyond, blasting through with high winds and downing power lines. Some areas even declared states of emergency as crews tried to clear between 30 and 50 centimeters of snow.
It's horrible. It's not fun at all. We've been out here for hours upon hours right now.
People were told to stay off the roads, and some who didn't paid the price. Airlines canceled more than 4,000 flights, leaving airports eerily empty. But, of course, there are always those who make the best of it. This was the scene on the National Mall, courtesy of the Washington, D.C. Snowball Fight Association. And, of course, there's one of those.
Well, 2 young Canadians are at the center of 2 other stories we're following tonight on The National, but for very different reasons. This young man faces life in a U.S. prison for a terrorist plot. Why his parents believe he deserves a second chance.
And you'll meet Autumn Pelletier, a 13-year-old activist for water protection. She speaks with the wisdom of someone much older.
Mother Earth has been surviving for millions of years without us, and it's taken us less than a century to destroy her. And Mother Earth doesn't need us, but we need her.
This is an historic night on the National. Tonight marks the official launch of the National Online, our new service on the internet. For all of you internet surfers, you know what a website is. But for those of you who are still just idling on the shoulders of the information highway, the National Online is an exciting new way to access our news and information service on the internet. And as a mini primer and preview, we thought we'd anticipate 10 of your most likely questions, and in answering them, give you a quick tour of our site. The internet, or web as it is called, is a way to link computers using telephone lines, cable lines, or satellites. When you electronically connect your computer to another on the internet, you can send messages, exchange information, research data banks, and link up with websites around the world. For the National, the internet website is simply another way to provide Canadians access to news and information about Canada and the world. For those of you who understand these things, you may have already linked up to our website. And for those of you who are curious and want to know more, you'll need one of these, a modem, an internet service, and our address. And that goes something like this: http://www.cbc.ca/national. Our website was designed to take full advantage of Netscape Navigator version 2 enhancements. When you log onto the National Online, you'll access something called the home page, a kind of general directory page and gateway to our website. From the home page, it's possible to head in any number of directions, and you can change direction anytime with the click of a button. When you click on any of the subjects on the home page, you open the door to layers of information under that category. Tonight on the National, for instance, gives you an up-to-date preview of the stories we're following and what's in the works for the National magazine. Or you can choose more detailed program information. For instance, if you'd like a transcript of last night's show, press on Transcripts, and you can read and even download what was said. Yes, if you're searching for an item from a previous show, you can look it up in the National Summaries. Soon, our regular features section will get you this week's entries in the Almanac. Enjoy a timely point of view from Rex Murphy, or read David Gilmour's take on the latest big screen arrival. The program information page will also allow you to browse through back issues of the magazine and let you keep up to date with regular press releases from our newsroom. If you'd like to find out more about us and what we do, you can choose About the National. And you can visit our journalist gallery and find out who's who on the National. To scan our correspondents around the world, head to the Bureau Maps. And the Canada Maps will take you on a tour of our Canadian bureaus. If you want to communicate with us or comment on something we've done, then the National Feedback is your ticket. There's a 24-hour interactive thread that lets you post your thoughts about the subject of any of our programs. Well, bear with us. We're just getting started. We'll be inputting more information as each day goes by. And in the future, you'll be able to access these stories just as they were broadcast, with full sound and pictures. The system is being improved and modified daily to serve you better.
Does it get overwhelming when you think of you basically have two lives?
Yeah.
Where you're a normal teenager one day, but then the other day you're a water advocate at high political meetings, and I don't really know what to think of it.
That's 13-year-old Autumn Peltier from the Wikwemikong First Nation in Ontario. Tomorrow, she's set to speak to UN leaders and world leaders on World Water Day. And while she's dedicated herself to the cause of safe drinking water and clean waterways, she and her family have also struggled to find the right balance.
We go out and pray for the water because the water is sick and it's contaminated, and we basically just do the water ceremony to pray for it for hopefully one day that that the water's clean.
The water on Manitoulin Island is mostly frozen on this bitterly cold day. But the prayer always has the same meaning. What may not be expected, it is being made by one of Canada's youngest water protectors, driven by the tradition and ceremony of her elders, and maybe even by a calling. Autumn Peltier is just 13, and in most ways, just like any other teenager. She texts a lot. She giggles, she hangs with her friends, and she makes slime with her sister. But she's also a little bit exceptional. Almost without expecting it, she has become a visible activist for safe drinking water and clean waterways for Indigenous peoples.
Why do you care about it so much, do you think?
Well, I guess it just really affected me seeing and hearing that there's First Nations communities that can't drink their water, and it's contaminated because of pollution and pipelines from breaking. And yeah, just one day it really affected me, and I actually cried about it. And it makes me really mad when I think about it. And I even talk about it with my friends a lot.
She is also inspired by her mother, Stephanie, who has worked to make sure her girls are raised with a deep sense of identity and traditional Anishinaabe teachings.
Do you think that people listen to her in a different way? And they might listen to you or me or someone else who's been doing it for 20 years?
I think so, because I can get really overwhelmed as a mother thinking about how big this has gotten.
But do you think there's something special in her about this?
When she came into the world, she was so serious. She came out she just had this look on her, and I almost couldn't look at her. And she didn't even cry or anything. She just stared at me, and I said, "Who are you?"
This is the dress that I usually wear to my talks, where I public speak. Because when you're wearing a skirt, it's used for protection. What I've been told through ceremonies is Mother Earth has been surviving for millions of years without us, and it's taken us less than a century to destroy her. And Mother Earth doesn't need us, but we need her. That's what I tell people when I wear this dress.
It would seem, too, that people are listening. There is something about a young face of the next generation that may cause people to listen differently, more closely. Autumn was nominated for the Children's International Peace Prize in 2017. She is asked to speak in this country and around the world, and she had one rather overwhelming meeting with the Prime Minister.
What did you want to say to him? Do you remember?
I just said to him, "I'm very unhappy with the choices you made and broken promises to my people." Then he said, "I understand that." And then
you were really emotional, too.
Then I started crying, and then all I said was the pipelines, and then he said, I will protect the water.
She says, "I understand that there's so many communities that don't have clean drinking water, and it costs a lot of money." She knows that, and she says cleaning one or two communities is better than not being able to clean any.
In fact, where Autumn lives on Wikwemikong First Nation, there are no drinking water problems. And recently, the federal government committed even more money to eliminate long-term boil water advisories across the country by 2021. Change seems to be happening, if slowly. But for Autumn, it may come at a cost.
verbal bullying all the way to physical bullying, where kids would be throwing balls in my face like basketballs and pushing me.
Why though?
I don't know.
They were jealous or?
Like, because I had to go to counseling because I was like feeling bad about myself. And they just told me it was probably because of jealousy.
So did you think to yourself at that point, like, well, why am I doing this? Like, this is too much for me as a kid.
Yeah, I think the bullying almost made me feel like quitting what I was doing.
Have you been able to forget about that, or how are you?
I forgot about that a long time ago.
Yeah, it still upsets you a little bit, though, I can tell. Those difficult moments seem to have made Autumn stronger and able to deal with using her voice to call for change.
So we're gonna go over our schedule here, see where we're at. We're going through this first page pretty quick.
It seems like a lot. Like, you just, the ones that are already scheduled, it already seems like there's a lot.
There is a lot. And you know what? There'd probably be more.
Did you, during that time, ever say, this is too much for a kid?
No,
Or too much for me?
Maybe more me, because I'm a single parent and I raise my kids by myself, and a lot of times I'm alone and I don't have a lot of, like, I have family support, but I don't have physical support.
You're not making money off of this?
No, we're not making money off of this, and sometimes when we travel, it's on my dime. Here we go. So here's some of your ideas.
So because of Autumn and her mom and her sister, the demands have been pulled back. But there was one invitation that could not be passed up.
Integrated management.
Speaking to world leaders at the United Nations tomorrow.
Do you realize how big a deal it is?
Yeah.
What you're about to do?
Mm-hmm. Because this is bigger than basically everything I've ever done. For me, this work, I'm going to keep on doing this work for the rest of my life. I hope that I can make a change and people from all over the world be able to have clean drinking water.
So it is worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Autumn, as you might expect, has lots of plans for the future. She might become a lawyer or a chief or a politician. But of one thing, she is certain. She will continue this work that she has already begun. As things stand now, there are currently 79 long-term drinking water advisories on reserves. And as mentioned, the government says it is now on track to get rid of all of them by 2021, if not before. It has also already resolved 56 of those advisories since the Liberals came into power in November 2015. So a big day for a 13-year-old at the UN. Not what I was doing when I was 13, Andrew.
No, I'll say, but it just goes to show you, if you're really passionate about something, you can just go out there and make the change that you want to see.
Yep.
Well, we do have to take a short break, but when we come back, Susan Ormiston has the story of a troubled young man and his heartbroken parents who believe the last place he should be is in a New York jail.
Did you have any indication that your son was online plotting this attack?
No.
Never?
Never.
For the thousands of single people in the city, it's known as Young and Eligible. It's one of the most popular places in town for singles to meet other singles. Now, you'd think that in a city of 3 million people, that would be easy, but it's not. In fact, Toronto can be a very lonely place. Tonight on Toronto the Dark Side, Cass Rusi and Paul Hunter spend a Friday night with 4 single people looking for love.
It's Friday night in Toronto.
Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the Jaguar Club.
And we're at one of the many singles bars in the city. It's a different world in here where there are no strings attached.
It's a singles bar, obviously. You're single. I'm a single person. I mean, to be painstakingly honest, to meet the wonderful man, the prince, the horse, the whole thing. But I think while you're doing that, you know it's not going to happen.
Tell me, what's the worst opening line you've heard?
My feet turn you on. Get out. Did that do anything for you? No.
Clubs like this need to be around in Toronto for people so they can let their, I guess, energies out. They have to tap into something Friday, Saturdays, Thursday nights. This is a good outlet.
People who go to bars are really trying to fill up an emptiness inside them, and they're probably not good candidates for a relationship at that time.
A lot of people don't trust somebody who's really? You're kidding. A friend of ours just left, and his name was Joe too. Would you believe that I'm Joe too?
At a singles bar near Yonge and Eglinton, it's jammed with people meeting people.
You like this outfit?
Joanne Austin has been single for 10 years, and she comes here a lot. We asked Joanne to show us what a Friday night is like in a singles bar.
And what's your name? Gary. Hello, Gary. My name's Joanne.
Most nights when I go out, I try to look my best, but there are many nights when I have absolutely no expectations at all. I'm just going out with a bunch of friends and having a good time, and if something comes of it, as those fellows earlier were saying, maybe, maybe not.
You come to a place like this hoping you're going to meet somebody, or? No. Neither do I, really. That doesn't happen. I mean, I like meeting people, right? But I just like doing what I like doing, and you meet people anyway that way. But aren't you looking for the perfect woman? No, I had her already. She's gone. I don't want another one.
Are you going to find Mr. Right, if you will, in a bar? Do you think?
I think your Mr. Right is anywhere. He could be over there at the pizza place. He could be anywhere. So I don't think it's really a matter of where you're going to find him. And there's a million Mr. Rights. I mean, you only want one.
Going out to these places, have you met any interesting women?
Yeah.
Any that you pursued, or have you got anything going with anyone?
I'm still single.
That may be the one thing most people in this crowded room have in common.
Critics are raving about Caught.
We got a body.
This is real, Slaney!
Come on, rise and win.
Season finale, Monday at 9 on CBC. As Pyeongchang 2018 comes to a close, the Olympic journey continues.
And look at the time! 9:69!
One network is there.
Kylie Marsh, the 21-year-old Canadian, a new world record.
Every step of the way to Tokyo 2020 and beyond. CBC, Canada's Olympic network.
Do you accept that your son was sympathetic to ISIS and wanted to carry out a jihad against America?
No. I just want to tell you something, Susan. He wasn't under a good treatment at this time.
Just a few weeks from now, the parents of Abdulrahman al-Bansawi will learn their son's fate. The 20-year-old from Ontario pleaded guilty to 7 terrorism charges after he conspired in the name of ISIS to kill Americans by blowing up New York landmarks. His parents understand the severity of the case against their son, but say he was vulnerable and manipulated as a mentally ill young man. Susan Ormiston met with the parents for an exclusive broadcast interview as they await Abdulrahman's sentencing.
Every week, on the overnight bus to New York, Khadija and Osama al-Bansawi go visit their son. He's jailed in Manhattan, and U.S. prosecutors want him to spend his life in prison. His parents desperately hope for something less. They are his only lifeline. Abdulrahman al-Bansawi is convicted of a terrorist plot. At 17, he got swept into the ISIS network online, watching videos, then on chat rooms, communicating with recruiters and operatives. Also, without knowing, he was revealing plans to an FBI agent undercover. He was plotting with one other a mass casualty attack on the New York subway and Times Square. He'd ordered peroxide and some bomb-making materials online in Canada and had them shipped to New York. All the time, he was living at home with his parents and sister in a suburb outside Toronto.
Did you have any indication that your son was online plotting this attack?
No.
Never?
Never. We are a very peaceful family. And another thing, my son loves Canada so much.
But in 2016, on the May long weekend, when the family set out on a road trip to New York, the FBI was waiting.
When we reached the hotel in New Jersey, the FBI surrounding us in the parking lot, and they took my son from the car, and they told us at that time that my son, he has been in the chatting room supporting ISIS.
At what point did you find out that your son was plotting a violent attack on citizens of the United States?
The next day, in the meeting, he gave us a paper from the government, which has the charges against my son. We were shocked at that time, yeah.
In the charge, 7 counts of conspiracy to commit and support terrorism. Al-Banasawi is quoted as saying, "These Americans need an attack. I want to create the next 9/11." So what happened? How did a boy from a close family with no history of violence or connections to extremism suddenly turn to terrorist plots? Growing up in Kuwait, he was both troubled and funny. The family moved to Canada when he was 7, but in his early teens, he got into drugs, marijuana mostly, and then inhalants like butane. Then came the depression.
شرمني depressed أوي الأيام دي.
He often confided to his sister on video chats. His parents got him into rehab and mental health programs in Egypt, Kuwait, and Canada.
You intervened many times?
Yeah, many times. Actually, he's a good boy. When we told him you need to go to rehabilitation, he never ever refused. He said, "Dad, I need you to be happy of me, of my behavior. I need you guys to be proud of me."
Finally, diagnosed as bipolar or manic depressive, he was prescribed daily medication.
If taking the medication, right medication, he didn't go back to the drugs. He was a wonderful boy. He came back to us as we knew him before.
In grade 11, they enrolled him in a Toronto area Islamic school, even though Al-Banasawi did not identify as a Muslim.
My son was atheist until 17 years old. So when we decide to convince him to go to the Islamic school, it's to avoid the drug. It's not more than this.
But he began to slip, complaining his medication made him gain weight and be dozy. After a few months, he was kicked out. And then he spent days at a time on ISIS chat rooms.
My son took the decision to stop taking the medication. We tried to convince him. Please take the medication, it's very important. So I started to put the medication for him. The medication for him in the food. And he told me, "No, I will not eat from your food again because I noticed you put some medication for me."
Al-Banasawi admits his crimes. In a 24-page handwritten letter recently to the U.S. judge, he describes how ISIS propaganda persuaded him to seek violence against America.
Canada had recently stopped airstrikes. That's why it came to the U.S. This is in no way a justification. I'm merely explaining my thought process at the time.
Many Canadians would say your son was plotting a very violent attack on hundreds of people in New York City. Why should he be given any leniency?
It's very clear that he was really manipulated and influenced by them.
His parents believe his mental illness made him unstable and vulnerable, and they question why no one intervened to warn them.
Those people, they knew that my son was sick, and they continue to do the same.
And when you say those people, who do you mean?
RCMP and FBI.
How do you know they knew he was ill?
They said they knew.
Her son was a patient at a mental health facility in Toronto in 2014. The RCMP knew. CAMH confirmed it 5 days before his arrest. But the U.S. prosecutors argue any mental instability is a distraction with no relevance to sentencing. They argue his incapacitation should be total and lifelong. Dennis Edney is al-Banasawi's lawyer.
As you well know, the prosecution says that his mental illness is irrelevant, and more to the point, even more proof that he should be incarcerated for life.
Well, they should read our expert reports. This is a highly damaged young man. He shouldn't be in prison.
He's been in jail 2 years already, awaiting sentencing, some of that in solitary confinement. Early on, he scrawled pro-ISIS messages on cell walls, compounding his problems. More recently, he finished his high school equivalency, and he's told the judge,
I definitely do not want to resort to violence or harm. I wonder where I would be if the undercover or anyone else I looked up to would have advised me that there are ways other than revenge attacks and violence. I only ask for a second chance.
We ask for mercy. We ask for human being feelings.
They visit the Manhattan jail once a week now, fiercely loyal to the son they thought they knew. His descent into ISIS is no doubt a combination of influences, and they will all now pay the price. Susan Ormiston, CBC News, Toronto.
One other troubling part about this case is that many of the court documents are still sealed, which means defense lawyers cannot review the exact communications between ISIS, the FBI informant, and al-Banasawi. His Canadian lawyer argues the FBI overstepped its undercover role. Neither the FBI nor the RCMP would talk to us with the case before the courts. There's more to come on tonight's National, including the moment. Tonight, it is Pope Francis versus the wind. Go deeper on the stories of the day earlier in the day. Subscribe to our newsletter at cbcnews.ca/The National. The National today takes you inside our journalism every afternoon.
The predominant feeling among the Europeans of Central Africa is that time is running out. Here, where only 70 years ago, Cecil Rhodes and his band of pioneers planted the Union Jack and pacified the natives, the words partnership and multiracialism are the last hope of 300,000 white men living among 7 million black men. Very few reckoned African nationalism to be a serious thing. A series of independent African states changed the map of Africa from imperial pink to independence green. In southern Rhodesia, white men were talking of reforms that a few years before would have got them chucked out of the club. And 2 new words enter the vocabulary of the European Rhodesian: multiracialism and partnership. But was it too late? Robert Mugabe of the Zimbabwe African People's Union.
Well, we are totally opposed to the concept of multiracialism because it assumes in the first instance that the people have got to be arranged in compartments based on color. You have Europeans in one compartment, Asians and coloreds in 2 other compartments, and the Africans in another compartment. And immediately you talk of multiracialism, you are accepting as a starting point that the races are different, and this difference must be recognized. We are non-racialist in our approach. That is, we regard as an individual as an individual, and that everybody must be accorded his full political rights, whether he be white or black, educated or uneducated, rich or poor. And this is exactly why we are at the moment struggling to earn for our people 1 man, 1 vote.
Partnership and multiracialism were first mentioned in 1953. Desegregation of Salisbury's first bar took place 3 months ago. It's not quite apartheid, but the races are separated by legislation. This is Harare African Township, and if you are an African, you live in a township, unless you're a houseboy and have your own private hut at the bottom of somebody's garden. The government says the basis of true partnership is education. So far, not a single school in southern Rhodesia in the entire federation has been integrated.
We're having a family dinner. Maybe you'd want to come along with me.
Time for us all to say grace. What's grace? Thank you for giving me the strength to hold this family together. Come on. Despite their keenness to display their weakness.
I brought lunch. What are you doing?
Nothing.
This was a major breach of trust, and I'm really sorry that this happened. We have a basic responsibility to protect people's data, and if we can't do that, then we don't deserve to have the opportunity to serve people.
That's Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg just this past hour apologizing after days of controversy over how user data ended up with the firm Cambridge Analytica. He admitted in that interview that Facebook made mistakes. He said his company is investigating and making changes. And when asked if he'll testify before Congress, he said he's, quote, happy to if it's the right thing to do. Also tonight, word of a pretty appropriate tribute to the late Stephen Hawking. UK officials say his ashes will be interred at Westminster Abbey near the graves of Sir Isaac Newton and Charles Darwin. Hawking is considered one of the foremost physicists of our time. He died last week at the age of 76, and a service will be held for him later this year. Just for Laughs has a new owner, and Canadian comedian Howie Mandel is leading the charge. He's teamed up an investor group with an American talent agency to make the purchase. And for now, the plan is to keep the company's headquarters in Montreal. All this comes after several women accused Just for Laughs founder Gilbert Rozon of sexual misconduct, something he has denied. He has since stepped down and said he'd sell his stake in the company. And a union representing CFL players has filed a grievance against the league. It's accusing both the CFL and member clubs of failing to protect players from injury and not doing enough to help players when they do get hurt. The move comes after 2 BC courts dismissed a case brought by former CFL player Arland Bruce, ruling that labor arbitration was the proper way for unionized employees to proceed in these sorts of cases.
Okay, time for a giggle maybe. We all need a good laugh now and then. Even as it turns out, the Pope Francis was out delivering, doing his job, delivering a sermon to mark the start of spring when the wind tried to pick up his skull cap, not once, but twice. What happened next is our moment of the day.
La vita cristiana deve essere una vita è fiorito da te. Un albero.
Sadly, I do not speak Italian, but maybe he thought that God lifted it off his head. I don't know. Clearly, he didn't have access to bobby pins that day.
But poor guy, just trying to give a speech, huh? So apparently, one of our intrepid producers managed to get photos of this happening not once, not twice, but several times earlier. This is, I think that's Pope Francis behind there.
Yes.
Yeah, and there
dear.
you have another picture of him. The hat just blows off when it gets windy. There's Pope Benedict. Hey, it happens.
In all my travels, I don't think a papal wardrobe malfunction is something I've ever spent more than 13.0 half a second on. I have no idea.
They need a better design.
I
better
know.
Design.
So many things.
Well, let's leave it there, shall we? That's the National for this Wednesday, March 21st. Good night.
Good night.